Vintage and antique sewing machines have two different types of stitch length adjuster. You have the knob, which turns left or right depending on whether you want to increase or decrease your stitches, or you have a lever which moves up and down depending on what size stitch you're looking for. But which one's best? I'm Ollie, this is SimplyStitchy. Let's find out. You'll find this style of stitch length adjuster on many of the older Singer sewing machines, machines like the Singer 27, the Singer 128, and even this one. This is the Singer 66 Red Eye. And the one thing that you'll notice with these particular knobs is that they're always found on sewing machines that were either treadles or hand cranks. And more recently, those kind of machines that have been converted to electric. What you'll also note with this particular style of stitch knob is it's always on a straight stitch only machine, and these machines are not able to do a back tack or a reverse. They don't have that capability. Another thing that you'll notice, these particular styles of control don't have any numbers. So you don't always know what stitch length you've got that turned on before doing a test piece first. This machine is also a Singer 66, but this one is from 1949 and it started life as electric. And if you'll notice, it's got the lever style stitch length adjuster. What it's also got, although this machine is a straight stitch only machine, is if you push this lever all the way to the top, here it says back tack, which means this machine has a reverse function. And these numbers down the side make it a lot easier to figure out what stitch length you've actually got. You can move this lever to any of these numbers and that is your stitch length. So every time you come to use a sewing machine and you put it on a 10, you know you're doing stitch number 10. Now we'll get into what those numbers refer to in a little bit. This is a Singer 301 and this one also has reverse or back tack functionality. This one has a thumb nut which you can turn, and that's incredibly useful because when you come down to the stitch that you want, say we want at 12, you can actually tighten that up and it will stop that lever going down any further. And the benefit of that is when you move it from the 12 to do a reverse, you'll get the exact same size stitches in reverse as you would going forwards. Sewing machines with stitch length knobs and levers have the length of the stitches measured in stitches per inch, whereas modern machines like this Singer Simple have the stitch length measured in millimetres and have done since at least the 1980s, which basically means there's always going to be a bit of a disconnect because modern machines will tell you how long your actual stitch is, whereas vintage machines, whether they've got a lever or a knob, will only tell you how many stitches you can get in an inch, which can vary depending on the machine that you've got, how accurate these measurements are and how accurate you've turned the knob or whatever to the stitch length that you want. Because modern machines are in millimetres and vintage or antique machines tend to be stitches per inch, it's not always easy to be able to make a direct comparison between the two. So what I thought would be a great idea is if I actually stitch on 3 different types of machine to find out if there's any correlation at all between the different stitch lengths on the different machines. And we're going to start with a modern machine. Next up, a Singer 99 with the Godzilla finish. And lastly, we've got a Singer 66 Red Eye. Here are the three different samples that I did on the three different machines. We've got Simon, the Singer Simple, the modern machine here. We've got the Singer 99 with the Godzilla finish on this one. And we've got the Singer 66 Red Eye here. This is the one with the stitch knob adjustment, and this is the one with the stitch lever. You'll notice that the smaller the number, the larger the stitches, because this 6 refers to the number of stitches per inch, so it's 6 stitches per inch. And as we get into the bigger numbers, the stitches get a lot closer together. In contrast, if we have a look at the Singer Simple, the modern machine, the smallest stitch is actually number 1 and the largest stitch is number 4, and that is because they are millimeters, not stitches per inch. If we take a look at the red eye, the one with the knob adjustment, you'll notice that the further over to the right you go, the bigger the stitch, and the more you turn it to the left, the smaller the stitches get. So I've got, that's the furthest over to the right, then I did a quarter turn to the left, and all of these are a bit more left. I couldn't get it any more accurate than that because this one doesn't have numbers on it, so it's not that easy to tell how far you've turned it or how many stitches you're going to end up with per inch. Okay, for this Godzilla, I've got an inch from the 1 to the 2 here. You're actually looking at 8. There's 8 stitches per inch. Let's look at the 8 one for a moment. That looks like 12. So they're not exactly spot on. Even on the one with the stitch knob control, that was 7 stitches per inch. Which kind of just goes to show how much more accurate measuring the actual stitch length in millimeters is compared to working out how many stitches per inch you get. If we look at the Singer Simple for a moment and measure an inch, it's roughly around about 24 stitches per inch. Now remember, the Singer Simple, like most modern sewing machines, are measured in millimeters. So if we compare that to the one with the stitch lever, the closest one that you can get on an antique or vintage machine with a stitch lever is the 20 stitches per inch. Now that we've looked at the differences between the two different types of stitch adjustment control on vintage and antique machines, which one should you go for? You might find that you don't necessarily have a choice. The machine that you've got or the one that's available in your area might already have one or the other. But if you do have the choice between a stitch adjustment knob or a stitch adjustment lever, there are a couple of other things that you need to consider before you make the choice between the knob or the lever. The most important: do you want a reverse function on your sewing machine, or are you happy to go without that? Because if you want reverse, you're going to have to go with a stitch adjustment lever. The other thing that you need to consider is how you want your sewing machine to be powered. Like I said earlier in the video, I've only ever seen stitch adjustment levers on machines that were purposely built as electric. Treadles, hand cranks, or ones that have been converted to electric tend to have the stitch knob. So at the end of the day, it really depends on you, your personal preference and your sewing needs. I hope you liked today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and why not go and check out some of the other videos I've got on the channel using the links coming up on screen any minute now, or the ones I'll pop in the description box below for you. And why not subscribe and click that little notification bell that's just below, so that YouTube can let you know when I've uploaded another video, whichever video you go and check out next. I hope to see you back here for the next one, and in the meantime, whatever you're sewing it with, embrace your creativity and have fun. Thank you ever so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.